Okay. Now in today's session, we will see how to save the models. So I hope everyone remembers that what do you mean by saving the models and why we do that. The same thing we will practice in the today's session also. So let's create one folder here. So you have to click on the folder icon and just type here saving models. Delete this test file. This is not required now. Inside this saving model, create two more folders. Okay, so we have a main folder called as saving models. And inside saving models, we have other two folders. The first folder that we have is Joblib. Okay. Now inside Joblib, create one new file and name it as, let's say, okay, train.py. So whatever you have learned in your machine learning class, the same thing I will be doing here. That is a training. So you have a data set, you do train test split, you try to train the model, right? The same thing I will also do here. So let's try to do that. Let me increase the size for you. Yeah. The first thing is we will import pandas, import pandas as PD. Okay, so from sklearn import model selection, import train test split. Okay, and we will try to just make a basic model of logistic regression. Okay, so from sklearn dot linear model import logistic regression. Let's see if this particular thing is working now or not first. Okay, and then we will move to the next part. So if I do ls, okay, so first everyone has to go inside this folder, that is saving model folder. So cd saving models and press enter. Once you are inside the saving model, then you have to go inside Joblib. So how to go inside a folder? You have to just do cd space Joblib and just run this particular train.py. So Python train.py and press enter. Guys, I think I might have to restart the laptop again. Okay, because it's taking so much time. So just connect, let's connect again in 1 minute. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm leaving the meeting, but I'm making someone a host here. Okay. So now everything is working fine. Now, what I will do is everyone, I will give you one URL. Okay. So in this URL, a particular data set is already present. So the URL is in your chat screen box. So if I show you this URL too, so all the data set is present on this particular GitHub content. Okay. So right now, what we'll do is we will try to read or create a data frame using this URL itself. So let's do that. So URL, what I have given to you is the same thing what I'm pasting here. And then I will give the column names, which is equal to preg plus press skin test mass. So these are the basically the column names. Okay, pregnant preg is nothing but pregnancy, plus is nothing but plasma level, press is nothing but pressure, skin test mass, pedi age and class. Okay, so these are the different columns that we have. And the last one, the class is the target variable for us. Okay, so let's try to create a data frame first. So to create a data frame, you have to use df is equal to pd dot read csv. You have to give the particular URL and names if you want to give the names of the column. Let's try to do print df and let's see the output of this. And see, you can see a particular output on the chat screen, on the terminal itself. So everyone, please do this. If any kind of issue, please let me know. Everyone should get this particular output on the screen, what you can see on my screen. So guys, are you getting the same output or not? Any kind of difficulties? Atira, Satish, Vijendra. Okay. Okay. So now the next thing is, we will try to do a independent and a dependent variable split, that is x and y split. Okay, so so for this what I will do is array is equal to df dot values. So all the values will be inside this df now. Oh, sorry, array. So x is equal to array. So I want all the independent variables here. So colon, comma, 0 to 8. And I will have all the dependent variable here. So array. So I want all the rows, but only the last column. Okay. And then after doing this, I will do a train test split. So to do a train test split, so it, as you guys know, that it will always return the 4 values, that is x train, comma, x test, y train, comma, y test is equal to train test split. Inside this, we have to give x, comma, y, and we have to give test size is equal to 0.3. And we will also give, okay, this is x, this is y, no? So this is y, test size, that is 0.3. And we will also give the random state, which is equal to. So in this way, what we are doing is we are trying to do a train test split so that we can train the model as well as we can test the model. So now the next thing is loading of the model. Okay, so Satish, so what we are trying to do here is, this x is the independent variable. So when you try to save a machine, when you try to train a machine learning model, we have two parts, right? One is the independent variables, and for every independent variables, we have a target variable. So whether in this particular case, if you see here, this data set. So for the first one, these are the independent variables, and the class that you have is 1. So this person is diabetic. Then the second one, this person is not diabetic. So what we are doing is we are separating the independent and a dependent variable. In short, we are separating the independent and the target variable. So that's what we are doing here. Clear? And then what we are doing is, based on x and y, we are just trying to make a train test split, so that on one of the data set we can train it and on the other we can test it. Yes, Tira. Random state can be any random integer. Yes. So the meaning of the random state is that the data set that will be splitted into train and test will be totally random. Okay, so every time you execute it, if you are putting this random state 1, not 1, so every time you will get the same data. For example, let's say you have a data set as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In random state 101, 1, 3, and 5 was in the training, and the other was, that is 2, 4, 6 was in the testing, right? So every time you execute, every time you will get this particular split only. That is the meaning of random state. But this can be anything of your choice. It can be any number of your choice. Then we will try to load the model. So model is equal to logistic regression. And after loading the model, we will try to fit the model. So model dot fit, and inside the bracket, xtrain, comma, y test. Okay, so after training the model, the next thing that we will do is we will try to calculate the accuracy. So accuracy is nothing but result is equal to model dot score, and inside this you have x test, comma, y test. So let's see what is the accuracy that we are getting. So print result. Okay. Oh, sorry, this is X train. My no, X, this is correct. This is, oh, this is Y train. My bad. Okay, so the accuracy that I am getting is 80% approx. Okay, whatever you are getting on the previous one, just ignore it. It is just a warning message that you are getting, which you can ignore. And the output that I'm getting is 0.79. So let's see how much accuracy you are getting. Most probably you will also get the same accuracy, but still.
Sir, in the model.fit and in model.score, what are the parameters we are supposed to pass? Sir, you're not audible.
Oh, okay, sorry. So what I was saying was, in the fit, you have to give two parameters. The first parameter that you have to give is the independent variable of your training set. And then the target variable of the training set only. And in the score, we have to give for testing, X test and Y test. I hope you know what is X train, Y train, and X test, Y test. Yes, Atira? So these are the two parameters that you have to give in each. So for the fit, you have to give the training data. Once the model is trained, then we have to look for the accuracy, right? And we always take the accuracy on the unseen data, on which our model is never trained. Okay, that's why for model.score, you have to give X test and Y test. No, 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 no. See, you have a main data set, correct? This main data set you have divided into two parts. One is the train wala thing and one is the test thing. So this is train and this is test. Now this train also, so this train has a independent variable and a dependent variable, same for test also. Make sense, Atira? Now this train set we are trying to give in the model.fit. Okay, and this testing set we are trying to give in the score. So that's what we are doing. I hope it makes sense. Yeah. Okay, so after doing this, so we got a result, right? So if I want to predict based on all the test data, so how I will do it? You come on, you know this. If I want to predict all the output of test data, so what is the code to predict that? Come on, guys, you have done the machine learning, right? So you should be able to tell me this. So to do a prediction, so to do the prediction, so predicted data is equal to model dot predict, and inside it you have to give X test. So what it will do is based on this data, whatever you are getting, it will try to give the predicted data. So if I do print pred and try to execute this. So this is the predicted output that you get. Okay. But now what we are doing is we are doing a batch prediction here. We are doing a batch prediction here. The meaning of the batch prediction is nothing but you are trying to give around few data sets to do a prediction of on all the data set. But if I want to do a single prediction of a value, then what I have to do is spread is equal to model dot spread predict, that is model dot predict, and inside this you have to pass a single data set. So single data set will be equal to the number of independent variable. Okay, so for a time being, what I will do is I will give some random values here. Let's say 10, 20, 56, 67, 23, 42, 40. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. And then let's try to see the output of spread. Let's try to execute this. Okay, and okay. Oh, okay. So what this is telling is on this data 10, 20, 54, the person is diabetic. So what you can do is you can make this particular thing more informative also. So what you can do is if spread of 0 is equal to 1, you can print person as diabetic. Else you can print it as not a diabetic. Okay, so if I execute this piece of code again, so that particular person is diabetic. So everyone try to execute it, understand it. If any doubts, please ask why I'm doing this, why I'm doing that.
So why can't 1D array not be given for the model prediction?
Because
It has to be two-dimensional.
yeah, because in the predict, what happens is it always takes a two-dimension data. So it's a requirement by the predict model itself. So that's why we have to give the two dimension always. Because see, at the end of the day, either you can give, so you can give a batch prediction. Batch prediction is what is a two-dimension data, right? So same here you have to maintain. You cannot change the parameter. That's why two-dimension, because the function is same, right? So that's why here also two-dimension, here also two-dimension. That's why we have to give in the two-dimension only. You cannot give in one dimension because that is a requirement by prediction data itself.
So can you please tell the logic behind the two-dimension?
Atira, the logic is, see, this X, so when you create a function, you try to create a generic function, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So X test, this is what kind of data X test? One dimension, two dimension. This,
It can be in linear regression. It can be one dimension, right, sir?
no, your data set cannot be in one dimension, right? You always have rows and columns, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So when you have rows and columns, so this is always a two-dimension data, right? Where you have a rows and a column itself. So when you try to give X text, this is two-dimension. Yes.
Yes, sir.
So this predict function takes the first parameter as two dimension because you can give group of values. The first value, the second value, the third value, fourth value, and fifth value. So that's why to maintain that function's integrity, we have to give the two dimension here also. Make sense, Atira, now?
Sir, but what if X test has only one column?
Yeah, if that's so don't you think this is only one column itself? So if X text you are giving only one column, you have to give as a, so see, one column means what? 1 cross 1, sorry, 1 cross 8.
Yes, sir.
So when you say one column, how can you one see column is nothing but the independent variables, right? Atira? The independent variables that we have is these. So your column cannot be 8, your row can be 1.
Yes, sir.
So it is 1 comma 8. So see, this is two dimension. So that's why we have to maintain the two dimension here also. So that's why we are doing it.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So the short form is your model always work on the two dimension data. In short. So that's why we have to give two dimension. Next is error. What is? Okay. Now guys, if I want to do this prediction again, for example, let's say tomorrow, I want to do the prediction again. So don't you think I have to run the whole code again from the starting? Yes or no? If this only this piece of code, I want to write it again. So don't you think I have to run the whole piece of code again from the starting? But my question is that required? See, at the end, this model is getting trained, right? At the end, this model is getting trained. So you run 100 times, 200 times, 300 times, the model's equation will be same only, correct? So instead of running this particular piece of code again and again and again and wasting the time, so what we will do is, okay, so what we will do is, we will try to save the model so that we don't have to run this particular piece of code again and again and again. Okay, so for that, we will try to save the model. So saving the model. To save the model, so right now what I'm doing is I'm using Joblib. So to work with Joblib, first you have to import the Joblib. Import Joblib. Okay. So once you have imported the Joblib, then Joblib dot dump, okay, dump, and inside this you have to give the model that you want to dump. So for example, the model that I have to dump is my model name. So whatever model name you take here, okay, that only you have to dump here. So here, let's say model, and in which file you want to dump. So let's give any file name. So let's say diabetic _79, that is the accuracy that I am getting, dot. Now always remember, so for the audio file, we have WAV as a or MP3 as an extension. For Python, we have PY as the extension. So for these models, you have PKL as the extension. So you can only use PKL or you can also use SAV. Any of these you can use, but only you can use only any of this. Okay, you cannot use any of the other libraries. Yes, Joblib is a library that is already installed for you, so you have to just import it. So once you have done this, just this one line of code. Okay, once you have done this, just execute this piece of code. Okay, once you execute it, you will see that that particular file will be saved on your this side. See, diabetic_79.pkl. If you try to open it, you cannot see anything. Okay, because it is the encoded data. So see, you will see something like this. It's because it's a serialized encoded data. So you cannot open this particular file, but the model is saved. So PKL file Athira is nothing but this PKL file is a kind of file which is storing all the equation of this model inside this file. That is a PKL file. Yes, PKL stands for pickle only. Yes. Okay, so once you have done this, now comes the important part. Now you don't have to write this piece of code, right? So what we'll do is we will try to create one file, that is new file, and that is test.py. Okay, let's say this test.py is the any random file that we have. Okay, so now if I want to do a prediction, so let's say let's take a user input. Okay, so user input is equal to input Okay, what we'll do is we will try to put a while loop. So while I is less than or equal to 8, I is equal to 0. So what I will do is I will take the numbers right from the user. Okay, let me make simple. Okay, let's say you're taking a user input. Okay, so let's say the user what is giving is some this value, some random values like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is what user is giving you. Okay, as a random value. Now what we have to do is we have to do the prediction. So so we don't have to load everything. So what we can do instead is we can import Joblib here. That is import Joblib. And we can load a model. We can load the model. So loading the model is nothing but model is equal to joblib.load joblib.load, and inside this you have to give the model name, which is diabetic _79 _ PKL. The model that you have saved here, the same model you have to take here. Okay, you cannot take any other. Whatever you have saved, the same thing only you have to load. Once you have loaded this, just write this piece of code directly here. Okay, so model dot predict, and this will be the user input. Okay, that's it, guys. That's it. This is what you mean by saving the model. So if I try to run it, so Python test.py, the person is diabetic. See? So we don't need to train the model again and again. This is what advantage you get when you try to save the model. So everyone try to execute this.
Sir, I'm getting diabetic and a list having one dot.
Yes, because have you done this? So even if I also print pred, no, so I will get with that data only. So let me show you. Print of pred. Okay, if I do the same thing here, I will also get this only. See. Okay, so what this means is that this is giving you prediction data in a form of a list. Okay, in a form of a list. So one dot is nothing but it's a float value that is getting to you. So I'm just comparing that. Okay, if the spread of 0, that is this 1, is equal to 1, then the person is diabetic. Otherwise, the person is not diabetic. For that purpose only, I have done this. Yes, Satish, these 8 values are the independent variable that you have to give. So yes, these are the independent variables. Whatever model you have got here, right? The same model that I have trained. So yes, the model accuracy that we have is 80%, that is 79%. And that same model, I am just loading it and I'm using for the prediction.
So is it possible for us to give it as a user input function? Those user input?
Yeah, it's totally possible. But the only thing is then you have to use a little bit of coding here. Okay, so for example, if you want to take user input, so either you can write 8 times user input, but that is not a correct way of doing it. So what I will do here is, please enter the comma separated value, and I will split this out. Okay, so once you have split this out, then data is equal to, I will just use for I in user input, and I will do int of, oh sorry, I will not out. So for I in user input, int of I. So this extra thing what you have to do, and then after getting this data, you can just put the data here. So for example, let's say the user input is okay, split based on column. Sorry, based on comma. Okay, so let's try to put it again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And yes, you're getting based on that. So you can do that also. So this part is clear to everyone that how the saving of the model works. What is the advantage of that? So everything is clear to everyone.
So choose b type is equal to numeric is not compatible with array of byte or string. Convert your data to numeric value explicitly instead.
Adira, can you come again? Which part you're getting the error? This part? When you did this part?
Yes, sir, the user input.
Okay, so when you took the user input, are you converting each of the data into the integer? Because see, this input will take a string value from the user, right? But this model can only understand the integer value. So that's why you have to give the integer value here. So that's why you have to convert this. Have you done this also?
Yes, sir, I've done the typecasting too.
Can I share a screen? Let me see what is the problem.
So shall I share the code? Code,
Yeah,
please.
okay, wait for the code.
Yes.
Okay, no problem.
I have one doubt here. Since for input we did not define the length, right? It will take more than 8, right? Values.
Yes, yes. In this, it will take more than it. Yes. So you can put that particular thing also, but it is not required. See, at the end, this particular data will be coming from the front end, correct?
Yes.
In front end, we will give the user only 8 boxes only. So we can handle that in the front end. So you don't have to handle that in the back end. Did you
Okay.
get my point? Yeah.
Yes.
But the point is correct. Okay. So if that is 8, you should ask only 8. If it gives 9, either you prompt something that only 8 is allowed, something like that, or it will give an error. Okay. So have you pasted your code, Atira?
So I've pasted.
Okay, displayed then for iron user input. Yeah. So see, you are taking the user input, but at the end, this becomes your data, right, Atira? So this data you have to pass in the predict. You are passing the user input. That's why it's an error. Just try this. Just change whatever name you're taking here, data or whatever you have taken here. Just copy it and paste in the predict also. Then only it will work. Okay. Now this is what we are using as Joblib. Now, same as the Joblib, we have one more library, and that is called as Pickle. Now, whichever you want to use, you can use that, guys. Okay, it's totally up to you. So what I will do is I will create one file also here, that is a new file, train.py. I will copy the whole code from here to train.py. The only difference is that instead of importing Joblib, I will be importing Pickle. Okay. So the everything remains same, just the saving changes. So in the Pickle, what we have to do is we have to save the model with the help of file handling. So what we have to do here is this will be Pickle, P-I-K-L-E. Dump remains same model, but here instead of writing like this, we have to use a file handling, that is open inside a bracket. You put it and you have to also write WB here, write by. That's the only difference that is there. That's the only difference. How you save it is the only difference. So if I try to go behind it and if I do CD Pickle, right? Python train.pickle, C. It has saved the model, diabetic 79 PKL. The only difference between the two is how they save it. That's it. Rest everything remains same. So if I create one more file here, let's say test.py. If I copy this piece of code and paste it here, now this will also change, of course. So pickle, this will be pickle.load. But the only difference here will be you have to use the file handling. Open and in the read byte mode. Okay, now if I do Python test.py, still you get the same answer. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, the person is diabetic. So which one you like it, you can use it. But I prefer the first one, that is the Joblib one, because of its syntax. The syntax here is very simple, right? Use the model and where you want to save it. But in this, you have to do open, then WB, RB. So to avoid that part, I always like to use Joblib. But at the end, it's your choice. Okay, you can either go with Joblib or you can go with Pickle file, guys. And that is the topic for today. That
Sir,
is,
the pickle part, please repeat. It was too fast. So please.
so Atira, the pickle part, there's nothing. That's the point. Only this is a difference. That's it.
What about test? Test is same with the Joblib.
Test also, the only difference here is if I try to compare it for you, see, I will copy this piece of code, paste it here, see the difference. Just the first difference is that instead of pickle, you have to use Joblib. Load remains the same. Now here you can give the file name, that is diabetic79.pkl. But here we have to use file handling. So open, then the file name, and in which mode you want to open. That is the difference. Rest all the code base remains the same. For this also, even for Joblib, even in train also, I will copy this piece of code and I will compare it for you. Okay, so select this, select this, select this. See this. The first difference is pickle and a Joblib. Rest all the code is same and the last is the difference. So here pickle.dump, you have model.open and then you have to give the file name and in which mode you want to write it. So it will be WP. But in the Joblib, it is just dump model and directly the file name. So that is the advantage that you get using Joblib. But in the pickle, you have to use the file handling. That's it. Rest all the code base for train and test remains the same. So saving the model topic is clear.
So what is WB and RB?
So Atira, in the Python, we have done something called as file handling, right? Do you remember the topic?
Yes, sir.
So R means what? It is read and it's a byte file. So whenever we have a byte file, so we have to use RB. So whenever you are reading from a particular file, you use RB, that is read byte mode. Whenever you want to save it, that is WB, write byte mode. That's what you mean by WB and RB.
Sir, it shows load takes exactly one positional argument. Model is equal to pickle.load in the test for Python. Sir, in the pickle module, how do we create that diabetes_79.pickle file?
So guys, saving the model is clear to everyone now?
So what is the difference between the Joblib and pickle?
Only the syntax. The rest everything remains the same. So it's just at the end is your choice which one you want to use. So I prefer the Joblib one because of the easy syntax, but it's your choice at the end. Okay, so I will stop the session now. And in tomorrow's class, we will try to study something called as Flask from scratch. Okay. So thank you everyone for your time. I will see you guys tomorrow then.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye bye. Bye everyone. Take care.